Today's story sponsor is Paws of Fury, The Legend of Hank, which is a summer animated comedy for the whole family. If you've ever felt like an underdog, you will love the adventure when the underdog becomes the top dog. Oh, and of course, there's no more epic rivalry than cats versus dogs, right? But what happens when cats team up with the underdog? Looks like I know how we are going to be spending one of our Friday family movie nights this summer. Join us at the theaters on July 15th to see Paws of Fury. Hey friends, it's Mr. Jim and welcome back to Kids Animal Stories. Today's story was actually submitted to us by Owen. Owen wanted a story about an osprey. Do you know what an osprey is? Well, it's a good thing if you don't, because we are doing today's story on ospreys. They're a ginormous bird. If you have an idea for a critter that you want to hear a story about, head on over to our critter queue, which you can find those links down below in the show notes. Are you guys ready for today's adventure? Me too, let's go! It was a beautiful day outside as Owen was flying around high in the sky, soaring in the wind with his big wings. You see, Owen was an amazing bird called an osprey. Ospreys look a lot like a hawk, but they eat fish. And today's story takes us all the way to South America. Owen was getting ready for his long trip back to Canada. He'd enjoyed the beautiful hot weather near the small pond he had vacationed at, but it was about time for him to get back to Canada. He missed a lot of his friends up north. But before he left on that big trip, he would first need to fill his belly with a ton of fish from the river nearby. "Oh, my tummy's rumbling," said Owen. "I definitely need to go catch some fish, but first, my talons just don't feel as sharp as normal." He was kind of poking them on his belly and felt like they were a little too dull. "I should probably go sharpen them a little bit." He walked over to the river's edge and found a nice boulder and started rubbing his talons on that boulder to make him nice and sharp. The sound of the scratching of his claws could be heard around. Everybody knew that sound and knew what it meant. It was fishing time. Once his talons reached the, perfect sharpness of what Owen was looking for, he started to fly over the river. See, he doesn't go fishing with a fishing pole. He dives into the water with his talons and grabs onto the fish. And so as he flew up and down the river, he saw a school of fish. "All right, those look delicious," said Owen. "Here we go." He dove into the water 3 feet deep. Splash! He was insanely accurate as he grabbed onto those fish. Can you imagine jumping into the water to catch a fish with your hands? I just tried it a few days ago and it didn't end so well. I was just soaking wet with no fish. I think I'm better off fishing with a fishing pole rather than using my fingers. What about you? Do you think you could catch a fish with your fingers? Owen hummed a little tune as he flew to shore, holding his prizes. Oh, these are delicious. He gobbled them up very quickly and realized that the day was kind of almost done. He still had to pack up his things to get ready to leave early the next morning.
"Hey, what you doing over there, bud?"
Owen turned around to look and see that it was his friend Pedro the parrot. "Hey, Pedro. I'm actually just packing up my things because I'm heading out in the morning."
"You're heading out in the morning? What do you think you're doing that for? I had so many fun plans this week and, you're gonna miss all the fun stuff,"
said Pedro. "Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, you see, I have to head back up to Canada. I'll only be gone a few months and then I'll be back and we can pick up where we left off."
"A few months? Holy tacos, that's gonna be a It's gonna feel like a long time, but okay, just come over here and give me a hug.
Pedro the parrot rushed over and gave Owen a big squeeze.
Oh, I'm gonna miss you, Pedro.
I'm gonna miss you too, cried Pedro. Oh, don't cry. It's gonna be okay. There's plenty of other friends for you to play with. Okay. Tell you what, I will get you a souvenir for you from Canada while I'm up there.
Oh, that sounds fun. Okay, well, just stay safe on your trip. I'll see you later.
Owen was also a little sad as he watched Pedro fly away. Pedro had become a really good friend of his, and he was going to miss him while he was gone. But he did still have to pack his things. Pretty soon, the sun was setting, it was getting darker, and it was time for Owen to go to sleep. He needed lots of rest before his flight the next morning, and he had an amazing dream. Oh, it was one where he was relaxing and had the most delicious food he ever wanted. He was already sitting in Canada with his Canadian friends and eating the most deliciously prepared fish. It was beautiful. Have you ever been in a dream that you never wanted to wake up from? Well, unfortunately, that is what Owen is in the middle of, and he slept right through his alarm. As Owen stretched his wings, he realized that it was morning time. Oh, what time is it? He asked himself and looked up at the sky. He peered around and soon realized, wait, did all the other ospreys already leave? He flew up real quick to take a look around, and they had already left. I overslept. Of all the days to oversleep, he thought to himself, it just had to be today. I guess I'll just have to get going by myself. I've heard stories of others doing this journey alone. I guess I'll have to be like them. You see, ospreys, they usually do migrate together, so he was planning on flying up with a whole bunch of other ospreys up to Canada, but unfortunately, that amazing dream made him oversleep. Oh, man. Owen grabbed his things and found a few extra pieces of fish he'd saved from dinner the night before and hit the sky. He flapped his wings faster and higher, and he was very thankful that he wasn't a small species of birds, or a monarch butterfly for that matter. How hard would this migration be if he was so tiny? Phew! Owen was thankful for his long 5-foot wingspan. Whoa, that is huge! Did you know ospreys had wings that big across? Yes, even longer than you. After a full day of flying, he stopped for a break. He was pooped, and he needed to gain some energy if he was ever going to make it to Canada in one piece. Whew. Where I need a place to land. Where can I take a breather? He'd come to some kind of forest surrounded by wetlands with lots of dead trees. He looked around and found what appeared to be an abandoned nest. Oh, this is perfect. I could really go for a nice night's sleep, and that nest looks perfect. It was really big, like an osprey nest, and this made him feel cozy and not so alone and far from home. He cozied up in that nest, and he would soon learn that this was a big mistake. He closed his eyes and fell fast asleep until... Whoa! What was that? Something had woken him up. What could it possibly be this high up in a tree in a ginormous nest? Wait a second. Was this nest not abandoned? Will Owen be okay, and will he find his flock and make it back to Canada? All these questions and more will be answered on the next episode of Kids Animal Stories. Great job, you listened all the way to the end. Wow, ospreys are amazing birds that they can just catch fish right out of the water with their feet and their talons. I might need some sharper toenails if I'm going to give that another try. How about you? Do you have any tips on how I can get talons like an osprey on my feet? Because my hands didn't work, so maybe next time I'll get really sharp toenails and try and catch a fish. I don't know how that's going to go, but I hope you have a super duper day, and I'll see you next time. Bye!